Hello, hello. How are you guys today? Welcome to DottoTech Live. I'm Steve Dotto, and we are going to have a nice, fun little AMA today. How's everybody doing? It's June. Where'd the year go? Where did the year go? Or half of the year. Halfway. This is the halfway point of the year. I cannot believe that. That is just insane. I'm going to give you guys a few moments to get in the room. Today we've got a bunch of things I want to chat about. I've got a couple of topics to set us on the path. And of course, we're going to make sure we have lots of time to take your questions as we go along. There might be a little bit of noise in the background. We've got the cleaner here. Farley is on the prowl, but I've closed the door. So maybe Farley won't be, I can hear him outside right now going, wait a minute, Steve, I want to come in. So anyways, how's everybody doing? It's been a pretty busy week. Lots of strangeness happening in the online world, that's for sure. So here are the kind of the top level topics that I'm going to be chatting about today. I'm going to be talking about this live stream because live streaming is still something new for me. It's a new product for me. Still trying to find my voice and to figure out what's best. And so you folks that are here would love to hear your feedback on what you want to see more of and what you think of the live stream. I've had an interesting exchange with a person on it. I'm going to talk a little bit about Evernote's pricing. We've released a couple of videos recently on Evernote, and the number of people who are really angry about Evernote's pricing model surprised the heck out of me. And some people are like super angry. So that's a topic if you would like to have a conversation about that topic. Happy to do that. And there's been a lot of videos being posted about burnout. Mainly in the YouTube community. YouTube creators are talking about YouTube creators burning out and content burnout. But I don't think it's just a YouTube channel. I think it's a phenomenon of our always connected life and how we are not getting away. So I'd like to talk about burnout if that's a topic that is of interest to you. So let's see. We've got the delay has been picked up. Now, just so you know technically what's happening, I am broadcasting again out of Ecamm Live. The big difference between that and if I was going native in YouTube Live is there's a little bit more of a delay between my live feed and your chat. So there's about a 15 or 20 second delay. So I might not be getting your reactions immediately as I speak. It's something that we've dealt with. We used to deal with it all the time in the past when we were doing Hangouts on air. You know, there was a 45-second delay at one point for those. It was just brutal. It was we were in a different time zone, our content. But so if I am not right on top of your comments, I'll be the reason is that what I've said. How does it work? What I've said here, what you hear, and when I see the comment is 20-second delay or so. So let's see who is in the room. Stephen, welcome. Good evening, Canada. It's the United Kingdom. Hey, from the UK. Liz Azian, another in the UK. Liz is our talented designer who is taking a break from editing our videos today and working on some great new products for us. Hey, Liz. John, welcome. We have Alan. How are you doing? I am saying hello to you. NLTMW, not the easiest name to say. Greetings. Dan, much easier to say Dan. Been using Evernote since 2006, but still the editor in Windows desktop client. Does anyone else struggle with it? Yeah, fair enough. Zoltar385, I believe he told us he was from Poland last time. Yes, he did. Larry, how you doing, Larry? Judy, Larry's burned out from GDPR. Yeah, I've been talking a little bit about that. We'll probably touch on that at some point here. Here, Niraj, how are you doing? Eddie from Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., a patron. Welcome, Eddie. We love you. Canada and the United States, not so much love going back and forth right now. We're entering a trade war. It's big news up here. I don't know if it's big news down there in the States yet for you, but in Canada right now, this trade war, huge news. It's huge news. I guess because of the size of our country, a trade war with the Americans, affects us a lot more than you would notice. I mean, we'll notice it individually a lot more than individual Americans will notice it. Liz, love this topic. Can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts. Which topic, Liz? There's so many. I threw out 3. What are the charges in Evernote? I'm going to run over the costs because there's a big delta between their free and their paid service. I think that might be part of the issue. We are grateful for cats. I hope Farley's doing better. After your video last week, you took your recommendation and tried Google Keep. It's turning into a nice adjunct to my Evernote Premium. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, it is good. Farley's doing good. He's pretty much, he still wears the cone of shame a little bit just because of a tiny little infection in his incision, but he is definitely doing great. Liz, you saw Casey Neistat and Roberto Blake talk about burnout videos. Yeah, they've been, it's been a hot topic because several YouTubers have kind of pulled back from it. But as I say, I don't think it's just a YouTube thing because we're on YouTube and we have a public forum to talk about burnout. It seems to be a thing. It seems to be a topic du jour. But I think everybody's experiencing it. I think everybody's experiencing it in their own way, for sure. Go Golden Knights, Steve. There we go. Hockey. Christina Paris from Toronto. Hello, Christine. Anthony Del Grego. Welcome from Connecticut. David, holy cow, we got lots of people. Mark, okay, so there's so many people now that I cannot comment and reply to each and every person because we'll get into the topic or I'll just be looking. So the format is a loose format. Ask questions, add comments. I've got about 3 topics that I want to talk about, but it's certainly looking forward to you directing us along the way. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about this product here. We've got a goodly number of people in already, and the AMA and the nature of it, because this is a new product this is a new kind of feature for our channel. I've just incorporated. This is the 3rd or 4th week that we've been doing it. That we've been doing this kind of Ask Me Anything, and I had one person, and it's always one person. It's a squeaky wheel, but I had one person come on and say, AMAs are the delivery mechanism of the lazy. He basically said, there it is. He basically said that, let me get this. There we go. There it is. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get production values here. There we go. He says AMAs are lazy. These Ask Me Anything, these live things, broadcast are lazy because I haven't, instead of me spending time preparing a bunch of content and producing content, it's a lazy thing. It's a lazy way to get content online. And I think that there's a certain point to that. But the other aspect, if there's value to the community, if you folks really enjoy having this opportunity in this loose format, it really works from my perspective. We're going to be talking about burnout later. It's a real thing. Having a channel like ours, me constantly having to come up with new content and feeling like I'm constantly pushing the rock uphill, every once in a while it's nice to take a break and let gravity do a little bit of work and let the rock roll on its own and just kind of go on for the ride, if you know what I mean. So I'm pushing back. I pushed back pretty hard on that, on this particular person. But I'd love to know from you folks if, because we don't want to disrespect our community. We don't want it to just use up airtime and use up space and use up your attention span and your time that you could be spent doing more productive stuff with something which has limited value. I'm going to keep these things purposely short, 45 minutes, an hour at the longest. But they give us, as our community is growing, I think they give our community access to ask questions of me that I can answer in a little more detail than I have time to in the comments and chat within YouTube. And I do videos based on the comments and recommendations that you folks ask. But those take a long time. There's a couple of weeks before we can get those on air. So this is, I believe this is a nice intermediate step, but I'd love to see your comments and hear your reaction to how you feel about these. I mean, obviously the people that are here, it's a little bit preaching to the choir because you folks are taking your time. But please recognize that I am paying attention to that, and I love to hear everybody's feedback on that and how they feel about that entire scenario. An AMA, sorry, Steve, an AMA is an Ask Me Anything. It's these kind of, it's a shorthand for kind of what these live streams are that we're doing right now. Is you can ask me anything you want, and I will answer it. And but I haven't spent a lot of time prepping content. Okay, let me jump in and see the question. So if I missed your question, I apologize. Good. Hey from Winnipeg. There we go. Perhaps change it to ask me almost anything. You can ask me anything. People ask me about my dog, all that sort of stuff. Diamond, DottoTech's very useful for beginner of Google apps, especially Gmail-based viewers. When we redesigned the format for the video at the beginning of this year, we identified that all of the Google apps as something that people really wanted to learn a lot about, and they seem to turn to us a lot. And so we've actually been increasing our commitment to producing videos on Google Apps. As a matter of fact, Monday's video is on another one on Gmail, where based on all the questions that you folks ask, we have a new video ready to go. Liz says, I love your EMA. It gives me a chance to see as a regular viewer because Liz is always working. She's always working her tail off. Mark Vosen says, I like the mix of my deliveries. Good. And I think so. You know, I just don't want to take things for granted. And if somebody makes a comment like that, it makes you sit back and think. And to be honest, I think all creators probably, when they do something like this, they know how much work it is to produce our packaged videos. These are a lot easier. These are a lot easier because you folks participate in the flow and kind of lead the direction of the content. So it's not as much work. And it's not that it's not as much work. It's a different type of pressure. It changes as good as a rest. And responding to your questions, responding to your, in having this conversation is a lot easier than me sitting down, writing, packaging, trying to create a cohesive video. So that's kind of where we go. All right. Larry says, if all you did was AMA, then yeah, I'd say it's pretty lazy. But using a weekly recap of content and connect with the community is great use. You've caught the spirit, Larry, of what we are trying to do here 100%. All right. I'm going to talk about burnout now because I know there's been some interest on that, and then I'm going to get to your questions. Before I do, though, all of you who are our patrons here at DottoTech, thank you so much. I know that there's quite a few in the room. DottoTech is a community-funded site. We're supported through your generosity at the crowdfunding site Patreon. And let me just put a link in there if you are interested in discovering. We've got lots of awesome perks that we incorporate. If you do support DottoTech, it's $10 a month, and you get access to all of our webinar replays, half price on all of our courses. It's great. And those of you who are our patrons, thank you so very, very much. All right, burnout. So Casey Neistat was talking about it. Roberto Blake was talking about it. Paul Chatto was talking about it, who, by the way, if you haven't checked out Peter Paul Chatto, Chato, he's another baby boomer vlogger. He's from Toronto. He's from the comedy troupe, The Frantics, if any Canadians will remember it. It's kind of a gem of an old Canadian comedy troupe. And Paul is kind of my Toronto clone. He's skinnier. He's funnier, but he's got the same depth of technology, and he's got a really wonderful vlog. He's only got about 11,000 followers or something. He should have more. But if you are interested in the baby boomer perspective on things, check out Peter Paul Chatto, Chato. He's a good person, and he was talking about burnout as well. So. All of the YouTube community talking about it, and there is a lot of pressure to creating videos, and you feel like you're constantly running, and you feel like you're pleasing a very demanding relationship. Our relationship with our community, because we're always struggling to make things better. We're always struggling to grow the size of our community, to increase the number of views we have. There's the fact that we're putting metrics on everything we do on YouTube, and that we measure it and that we compare it to the last one, means that there's an artificial value system on our content and on our work, which is healthy from one perspective because it challenges us and it inspires us to do more and to do it better. But at the same time, it's pressure. It's defeating. It's like game day every day as you produce a video, saying, "Is my community going to be happy with it? Is it getting lots of thumbs up and likes and interaction? Is it making money?" Because we don't just sell a widget. We're paid based on how much people are watching our content. So that pressure, I think, builds up over a period of time, and it's. For most YouTube content creators, it's a fairly solitary existence, their content creation. When I did my TV show, I had a team, and the team lifted me up all the time. I could walk into the studio, and if I was feeling a little bit flat, the energy from the camera guys or the studio crew or my director or the producer, there was a whole bunch of people who work together as a team, and you gain energy from your teammates. And while we do have a team here at DottoTech, we're not in the same physical space, so it's hard for us to get energy from each other. We do conference a lot, but it's not the same. It's just not the same as being there and sitting there and laughing with somebody and having somebody get you a coffee because they see that you're dragging your ass a little bit, and just that level of caring. So it's a solitary existence for most content creators on YouTube, and as a result, I think that they feel that they constantly have to have the discipline of the production process and the creative process. For me, the burnout comes from the creative process, not the production process. Thinking of new things, coming up with a story, coming up with a detail, worrying, sweating the small stuff so that the creative is in place. But I think that that's just, I think that contributes to YouTube burnout. But everybody else in your own spaces, I think that you're getting just the same kind of burnout, because increasingly we're becoming more isolated in a physical sense because of our technology. We spend more time staring at a screen than we spend staring at a face. And we don't have that disconnection. We don't have the ability to disconnect from whatever it is. Shannon's just texting me. I'm just going to let her know that I can't talk right now. She probably wants to know if I want her to do any shopping for dinner tonight. But we talked about this in Webinar Wednesday a week ago. We had Vicki McLeod on, and she was talking about disconnecting. And it's funny how these things kind of all come to roost at the same time, how it all pulls into the same, one topic kind of dovetails into the other. So we were talking about disconnecting. We were talking about taking digital detoxes. We were talking about the fear of missing out and all of those sorts of things that happen as we become perhaps addicted to our technology, or at least reliant on our technology. Then I believe that closeting and looking at your screen so much means that you're seldom far away from being able to check your email for work, or monitoring what's happening in the office, or checking your numbers if you're a YouTube creator, or looking into your comments and checking your social feed, which now has a crossover between business and work. And so consequently, I don't think we get a break anymore. And I think that the genesis of burnout is the lack of balance, is the lack of a break. And that, to me, at least, I don't know, I'd love to hear what you folks think about it, but I'd love to hear if that is happening in your industries, in your lives. What advice do we have? I'm turning 60, and I still burn out, and I should know better. We should all know better. But I think that, especially when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So you want to be that person that puts the energy in and kind of drives through all of that stuff. But I think we pay a pretty serious price for that at the end of the day. And finding, I know that personally, last month, we got married on April 28th. Both Shannon and I said, without a doubt, biggest mistake we made in the whole wedding process was not marrying each other. Well, Shannon might think that marrying me was the biggest mistake, but the biggest mistake we made was not taking a honeymoon immediately. And it had been 35 years since I last got married. So I don't remember what that was like last time. This time here, I always thought honeymoon was for, it was like a party. I didn't realize that the honeymoon for us would have been disconnecting and re-energizing ourselves, and less probably about the relationship than more about just personal space and just being able to just take a deep breath and reset without pressures. And so that's kind of where I am on that. Eddie, I'm burned out. 2 months invisible on YouTube. Yeah, it does take it out of you. And Eddie, tell me if you're a YouTube publisher, if you don't have that fear of presence. If you aren't publishing, if you aren't there all the time, are they going to forget about me? Am I going to lose momentum? Momentum is such a powerful thing on YouTube and in all social platforms that if you don't feel you're constantly feeding the beast, are you going to start falling behind? And we don't want, and you know how hard it is to get going. So it's a challenge. Steve, myself, and Leo Laporte are your go-to tech guys. Two good tech guys. Daryl, Peter Chato is hilarious. He is. And why don't more women follow his channel? I wonder why more women don't follow my channel. Our YouTube statistics, Daryl, are 81% male. How could, with all of this, I'm not gonna comment on Peter's looks. He's a good looking guy. Not really good looking, but neither am I. There we go. Okay, let's go. Okay, so next topic. I'm just going to see if there were any questions that you guys had that I can jump into. By the way, not that I'm pandering for money, but if I miss your question, you want to make sure it's noticed. They have something called Super Chat where you give me money and you make sure your question is answered. I like that idea. Do you like that idea? I really like that idea. All right. Laura, off topic. Is there any way to watch 2 different webinars at the same time with the same computer? Not easily, because the audio, it would be a nightmare trying to switch your audio back and forth. You could have them running in different browser sessions if they're browser-based webinars, or you could have multiple feeds coming in. Bandwidth will be an issue, but your audio is going to be just terrible. It's going to be awful. So I don't think that there's any way to do. I guess there's a technical way, but I think it would be terrible. Got Border Collies, thank you. Got Border Collies noticed my beard trim. Shannon came home yesterday when I trimmed my beard, and it was getting kind of shaggy, and she didn't notice. And then I went to the gym, and all of the people at the gym didn't notice. I was completely put off, but thank you. Go to the Got Border Collies. That you made my day. Made my day. All right, let's go see what's the next questions. What platform do you recommend for me to rent my videos? For me to rent my videos? Are you talking about renting videos out? About charging people to view your videos? YouTube has a subscription model where you can charge for your video playback. If that's what you're talking about, as far as watching videos, I don't know. I just use Netflix. That's the one that I use. All right, Andreas. An AMA once per week is perfect. That's a good compromise between the defined time spent and a good opportunity for putting up questions. Good, thank you. That's what I want to do. Is once a week. I didn't know if once a week would be too frequent, but how are we doing for? Yeah, we got 88 people in, about the same as last week, so that's all good. Google Wi-Fi review. I haven't looked at Google Wi-Fi. I'll have to check that out, Paul. That's good stuff. What printer are you using? Do I recommend the Epson? This is from Hirshakish. I apologize if I butchered your name. Can you see it back there? I bought the Epson EcoTank, and it's an expensive printer, but it allows you, it has bottles of ink that last for a couple of years, and because toner cartridges are a pain in the rump, because there's a lot of disposable stuff going on with toner cartridges, and even though and of course ink cartridges, traditional ink cartridges, are so expensive and so wasteful. So both of those are really hard on the environment. Epson's developed these EcoTank products where you get a bottle of ink and you pour the ink in, and it's got the wells, which you can see. I'm pointing at my screen so you can see. The wells are right under where my finger is right there. The little wells. And it does a good job. It does a good job. It's called the Epson EcoTank. There's a whole series. They are fairly expensive inkjet printers. Like, you're not going to be getting your $99 printer anymore. They're $300+. But that's the one that I bought. Do I recommend it? I'm happy with it. I haven't tested it. I haven't stress tested it against HP or against Canon. I don't know if they're good or not, but I imagine they are. But yeah, the Epson one, fine product. Fine product. Live video is hard. Keeping up a conversation, it is hard, but an engaged community makes all the difference in the world. And so that for me, that makes it good. And for years I did live radio. And the live radio can be a real challenge too, because then you don't get the chat happening. But you have to wait for callers to call. I got to tell you, the worst thing that happens in radio is you're sitting there on your radio show, and maybe you're not feeling 100% and you haven't done as much research as you should or want, and you've got X number of content, and because you're planning on having open lines, and you say, the lines are now open at 6:09, and you give the number out, well, I take your calls on any topic, or on the topic you're talking about, and you look over at your producer, and they're going, and nobody's phoning, and you're going, oh, shoot. And then now you're begging for calls. Please call me, but you don't want to sound desperate because everybody's going to turn off your show. It's the worst. And it's happened to me more than a few times, I can tell you right now. He wants to, so Rishikesh? Is that how it's pronounced? I want to scan A3 photo, but my scanner only supports up to A4. Any solution for this? It depends where you are. Here in Canada, there's Photoshops, London Drugs, which is a drugstore which actually has a Photoshop. Just go to a Photoshop, a print shop, and ask them to scan it. They've all got big scanners. They've all got scanners that will do it for you. So there you go. That's the way that I would do it. All right. GTD is helping me against burnout. So GTD, Andreas, for those of you that don't know, GTD is getting things done. It's a philosophy. It's a productivity philosophy, which really is a smart philosophy. It's Dave Allen's book is called Getting Things Done, and their philosophy is first in, first out. That first in, first out. Is that the way you put it? That you want to handle any obligation only once. So when an email comes in, when you open that email, you don't close the email. You answer it. If you can't answer it in time, you defer it to somebody else. You send it to somebody else. You throw it in the trash. That's a good option. Or you can also schedule it to be dealt with. I think there's one other thing that you can do with it. But basically, you deal with it. And it goes actually back to pre-email days with the inbox. Remember, I don't know if you remember, I started work as an office boy in a large engineering firm. And there was inter-office envelopes that would go back and forth with all sorts of memos and all sorts of stuff. And some people's desks were piled deep with them and other ones had none. And the guys that had none, they followed getting things done. They opened it, they opened the mail, they dealt with it, and then they never left it to deal with later. And that means that you don't have, and there's a psychological part of getting things done, which is you don't have something called open loops. You don't have things that you've opened that are responsibilities that your brain tries to keep track of because you've already dealt with it. And that is a great stress reducer. Obligations, responsibilities, a full email inbox, to-do list that you aren't checking things off of, those become liabilities that increase pressure on us, and burnout, a lot of burnout comes as a result of us feeling that pressure and the pressure being constant and relentless and us not getting away from it. You'll notice it. You'll sleep at night, you'll start thinking about work. If the last thing you think about at night when you go to sleep is work, chances are you don't have a good system in place for managing your productivity. That's what getting things done is all about. Andreas, let me know if I explained it well, but that's my take on it. Mark, how you doing? Mark Chapin. The new Gmail feature. If you reply and add someone to the string, you can type plus Steve, for example, and Gmail will access your contact and give you an autocomplete to add the name to the list. Well, thank you. That's a good tip. I'll have to make note of that, and we'll have to include it in an upcoming video. I love those tips. Do you record songs? If yes, where? I do not record songs. I don't know why you would think I do. So nowhere. All right. Question number one. I'm still using Evernote. So the new pricing with Evernote has not driven it away. Oh, look at this. Okay. Duncan, thank you for the support. And I see here, this is the first time I've had a super chat. I'm just going to go over to my other window here because I want to see what it looks like over here. So excuse me while I do tech stuff. Just a minute. I'm going to my YouTube channel here. There it is. Because the super chat in eCam shows up. There we go. In just as a message. It doesn't highlight it the way it does over on the other side. But thank you, Duncan, for that. I appreciate that big time. So yes, so it doesn't show up quite as aggressively. And that's something I'm going to have to go back and take a look at and figure out how we make sure that we don't miss any. But thank you so much. Patreon, and so here's my way to support. I appreciate that big time. That is awesome sauce. All right. Andy, if you had to film whales from a kayak, what kit would you take with you if you had to travel? Like a GoPro. I think a GoPro or one of those action cameras would be the way to go for that. I can't think of another way. And those are they're pretty darn good cameras. Somebody that does a little more outdoor photography and stuff like that might have a better suggestion, but I would say a GoPro, and stay away from the whales. Don't let them knock over your kayak. Oder, question: dealing with constant pressure of the connected world and keeping a day off. The constant pressure in the world is called Shabbat. Indeed. Yeah, taking a break. Yeah, and it's many of us don't. Many of us don't. Oh, I'd use Patreon. Oh, got it, Duncan. So you don't use Patreon. Sorry, I understand. So he's giving us some support here. Thank you very much, Duncan. I appreciate it. $2 from Eddie Brown. Thank you very much. This is great. Awesome. And Daryl, thank you so much for the super chat. Best app to upload pics for iMap to Instagram. You know what I do, Daryl, is I don't know what the best app is for uploading pictures. So you know what I do? When I have pictures that I want to transfer from my Mac, are you on an iPhone? That's the question. If you're on an iPhone, I use Messenger, and I text it to myself and then just save it to my camera roll. And I do that back and forth between my phone and my desktop all the time. It's a bit of a hack. It's probably not the best way. And there's I think a tool called Push Bullet that you can push files back and forth. Let me just take a look over here. No, it's still covered up. But Push Bullet might be an option. We got a video on it. I haven't looked at it lately, but I think that might be an option. But I found the easiest way to migrate images when I'm not syncing my computer, but when I want them like from my desktop computer on my camera roll on my phone, is to text it using the Messenger app on the desktop from my Mac to my phone, and then I just click on it when it's in Messenger and just save it to my camera roll, and then I can do whatever I want. At that point there, it can go into Instagram. You can manage it, and you can do that. So you can edit a really nice picture on your computer. You can do a really nice meme. You can use Sketch or something like that to create a really nice meme, and then you can send it, and then you can post it to Instagram on your phone. And Bob's your uncle. You're in great shape. And thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it hugely. Fiscal Rangers, Florida. Google Keep. Sucks if you use more than one Google account. You can't share between accounts. iPhone. Good point. Good point. So yes, you unlike Google Calendar, where you can have multiple calendars, you only have one Google Keep account, and it's attached to that single account, so you can't share. That's a good point. Google Keep is not designed to be a super robust note-keeping app. It's designed to be a small and convenient note-keeping app. So it's not surprising that it doesn't do something. I think it's surprising, actually, how many things it does do. But I certainly understand that. Shane Burley, why don't you record songs? I think you've heard me sing, Shane Burley. I think you've been to a musical that I've been in. I think the answer is self-evident. But thanks for calling me to task on it. Gail, thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Thanks so much. Duncan, it's the first time I've used super chat, so that was easy. Thank you. No, thank you. We like to make it easy for people to give us money. That's a good thing. Okay. It's blue in chat here. Yeah. So here's let me, I don't think, if I screen share, it doesn't show the Ecamm live screen. So yeah, I'm going to have to figure, I know what I'm going to do next time. I'm going to embed the YouTube feed in the bottom of my screen here to make it a little bit easier, or I'm going to track it on my second computer. But yeah, it does. I notice when I'm going to other people's chats that the super chat is nice when I'm checking out their live, that it's nicely demarked on the screen. It's great. And it's a great way to show a little bit of support for a creator. And in some of I see some of the super chats are just amazing. They just do really, really well. That's good. Andreas, for a really short wrap up of GDT, that's fine. Yeah, it was a short wrap. Yeah, it's an entire book. It's an entire book that you read. I read it on an airplane. Eddie, what apps and software are you using for GDPR? We are slow rolling GDPR, and I'm not sure this is the best advice legally. Certainly if I was in Europe, I might not think that this is the best advice. But we have implemented a GDPR plugin on our website, and we're making sure that we are GDPR compliant in our checkbox, the way that we're having people register and get onto our mail list, etc. But all aspects of GDPR, I don't think we fully embraced. But DottoTech from the beginning has had a spirit of privacy and respecting people's privacy and their data. So we've always been a company that you would not have complained about as far as privacy and security goes. So we are compliant in the spirit, and I'm waiting to see how all of the different kind of touch points suss out and where the breakage happens. The European Council itself, the people who administered it, apparently their website wasn't GDPR compliant. It's going to take a while for it to all come down the pipe. And it's people who are totally abusing it that are going to be sued, and those are being the cases. And it's going to, so I think it's like when we had the CAN spam laws launched here in Canada 3 or 4 years ago, when we had the new series of laws go through. We just pulled back and didn't, a lot of my colleagues blew away their entire mail list and remailed people and said, please re-log in, and they just annihilated their communities. So all we've done is we've just done the things that they've asked for that are obvious that we should be doing, and now we're kind of watching it as we move ahead. So the only tool that we've used, and Liz, if Liz is still on, she can drop the link in for or tell you what the WordPress plugin is that we created, but it manages all of the cookie tracking permissions and all of that sort of stuff and lets people know exactly what's happening there, which is one of the biggest things. It was probably the most technically the biggest technical issue, and it's one of the most irritating. Now that the wave of emails of people, their new privacy policies have come through, now it's visiting websites and having to click and accept their cookie policy over and over again, which is a big pain in the rear end. Post Pro Media, have you considered using multi-camera and a switcher for the feeds, overhead shots for demos? Yeah, I think that there's a lot of ways that you can incorporate it. Now, because of how we do our demos on YouTube, I don't think that there's a big need for me. I don't plan on doing in my live stream to be doing demos because we've got a formula and a format for that. And also in my webinars, I pre-record my demos, so I've got the advantage of the production values that you're talking about. But I was thinking about using, well, for example, even here in Ecamm Live, I could multicam switch if I wanted. So I would think that at some point it'd be nice to do a camera move and a turn and all that sort of stuff. It would add to production value, and that's certainly something for the future. And you can do some pretty impressive production quality stuff with the tools you have. I imagine that's it. Yeah, if there's a tool that you think is awesome, let me know. But yeah, Ecamm Live does allow for multi-camera switching. Actually, next week on Wednesday, we're dropping our video on Ecamm Live, and I'm really happy with how it came together. It actually includes last week's YouTube Live feed as just a little bit part of it because as I walk through the tool, it's very, very cool. Syncing photos from a phone using Google Photos, Flickr applications. Yep, I am a big fan of Google Photos. I use Google Photos all the time. It's become my go-to photo storage app, and it's not perfect. The sorting features in it aren't great. And hopefully Google is going to improve it over time. But I think it's a darn fine one. And we've done one video on it. And it's certainly a video we're going to be going back to. I haven't used Flickr in a long time. Are you Flickr users? I'm curious about that. Gail, have you ever heard anything about Asana offering individual premium memberships? I love the app, but don't want to pay for their upgrade for 4 people when I'm the only one using it. Yeah. No, I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard about them using it. And we actually are just now looking at stepping up to the premium membership for our team, mainly for dependencies. But yeah, we're big fans of Asana here. We wouldn't be able to run DottoTech without Asana. I think I can say that with a great deal of confidence. Shane, as long as you have an internet connection, Google Photos for quick storage, and then Flickr for longer storage. Okay, so Flickr, that's it, and it's all about having access to an internet connection. Larger storage. So Shane, you do not pay the extra for more Google Photo storage to store higher resolution photos, because that's one of the things about Google Photos. They give you unlimited storage on your photos as long as they're medium resolution, which is actually still a pretty high resolution photo. But they do scale down your photos. Whereas if you pay more, you can store any size photo in Google Photos. Yeah. God. Super chat can pop out. I think the second screen is a way better way to do it. I agree, Shane. Yep, I'm going to be doing that for next week. Joy C, what app or extension can I use to find duplicate photos using a Chromebook? That's one of the big limitations. It's one of the biggest issues that people are having with Google Photos is they don't find duplicates, and it's a pain in the ass. And I'm pretty sure that Google has heard loudly if they actually pay attention to feature requests, which the last version of Gmail would fly in the face of. But I think that you're going to probably have to wait on that. I've looked for other tools for it. I haven't found anything. And it's really going to be dependent on what you store your photos in. That's one of the nice things about iPhoto on the Apple, which there's not a lot of nice things that I can say about it, but it does do a great job of duplicate tracking. But it's that's one that I'm going to write that down. I think that's something I want to do research on. That makes a great narrative. Duplicate photos, and actually, I think I had it in Asana a while back as a research project for an upcoming video. But I'm going to work on it, Joey. Good one, Joey C. We'll let you know. Well, hopefully you're subscribed so you'll know when we do it. Thank you. Yeah, Liz shared the plugin that we're using for our website. Good. Duncan, what tools do you use to track your investments, retirement, wealth, net assets, etc.? I just use actually a built-in tool in my bank. My bank has, I've got all of that in one area in one of my bank accounts, and they've got a pretty good online tool. So I'm not using an outside tool for that. Love to hear what other people are using, however, if you've got a different one. Fiscal Ranger, Florida. Multicam video is tough if your editor is remote. Well, the thing about doing these live streams is I'm my editor myself. And so I could just switch cameras should I choose to. Just like I keep adding these these keys. But it is kind of distracting. Let me just add the key right now. There we go. There we go. Subscribe to us on YouTube. But it is, I've got to learn to the point where I do it second nature without interrupting the flow. Or you have to have somebody else doing it. Yeah, I can see that it would be tough. Jack Ratz. Hi, Steve. Greetings from the Netherlands. Hello to you, sir. So Atul says, how likely is Google taking over Evernote? I've heard this rumor before. Have you heard this rumor? And I don't know whether it's just wishful thinking or fear. I could see Google. If Evernote sold to anybody, I could see it being appealing to Google. Because Microsoft has OneNote as a part of their offering. Google has Keep, but Keep is a very different product than what Evernote is at the end of the day. It's nowhere near the powerhouse that Evernote is. So I could see Google taking. But again, there's a lot of things about it that don't make sense because Google doesn't have, for the most part, monolithic apps that you install. I just see a lot of challenges with it. What are they going to do around the storage? Because Evernote's all stored in its own unique space, whereas all of Google's storage, it kind of goes into your Google Drive space. There's a lot of challenges with it, but it would be a bit earth-shaking, and it would be job security for this channel were they to do that. It would be something. There we go. Anyone here in sales or an entrepreneur, says Alan. Good. We'll look forward to it. Jack says, Fiscal Ranger, Florida. Multicam video is tough. Oh, there we already did that one. Jack. Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting to do this. Are you going to review DevonThink Pro for Office? No, I haven't ever done anything with DevonThink. It's been requested a lot, and the more people that request it, that's what happened with Keep. Is I resisted for the longest time to do anything on Google Keep, and then I finally did it. So keep asking, and the more people that ask about DevonThink, the more likely it is that we're going to do it. Okay, Mark. My NAS, which is a network appliance, it's a mass storage appliance, has a 2-bay and 1 bay has quit. No support for a replacement due to age. Any recommendations for a new one? QNAP, when I was looking at one, I liked what I saw in the QNAP. I think all of them have warts. But that was the one that I was closest to purchasing. I didn't end up buying one, but that was the one that I was closest to purchasing. I think that kind of Drobo, which is long been considered one of the kind of Cadillacs, I think that their star is on the descent because of ease of use issues with which other ones are bringing to the table. But these network storage appliances are awesome, and you can. I mean, it's too bad that one's cacked on you, but I think you're gonna have fun adding a new one. Daryl says, but you can't share a picture to Instagram from Google Photos or Flickr. True, but you can migrate the photo into your camera roll and then do it from there. Okie dokie. Mark again. How do you get by the issue of most apps in the iOS space that allow you to attach pictures only offers photos as opposed to Google Photos? Oh, yeah, I just migrate them into my camera roll. That's the way I do it in iOS spaces. I put everything in the camera roll, get it there. It's a hack. It's a workaround. Okay, Shane, he's talking about, I believe, the Evernote rumor. I think it's just been a rumor for the last couple of years. Unsure how true it is. Yeah, I think it's kind of one that's kind of gotten a life of its own. Okay, I'm just scrolling through quickly. One person... I like the lies. People read my little affirmation notes there. Good stuff, good stuff. Fiscal Ranger, Florida. Microsoft could buy it to kill, so we're stuck with their tools. Yeah, IBM bought Lotus Notes and killed the marketing it to shift. Yeah, that would be a fear. See, that could happen. Microsoft could buy it. I don't sense that Evernote, though, would... I think that would be a tough thing. I don't believe Evernote would... I can't say, but Evernote would know that was the reason. And I mean, we all just faced that with Microsoft with the calendar program. What was the name of the calendar program? I just lost it here for a minute. But there was a wonderful calendar that Microsoft that we used all the time. Oh, I've lost the name of it. Microsoft bought it and killed it, and it's just like now there's no good calendar app on the. It's forced me back to Google Calendar. Microsoft, congratulations! You killed off a calendar program and drove me to Google. What was the name of that calendar program? You guys will pop it in, I'm sure. Joey C., I'm a subscriber of your channel. Thank you for taking note of it. Well, thank you for subscribing, Joey C. When I unarchive photos, the face group turns on Google Photos. Turns on in Google Photos. The face grouping turns on in Google Photos when I unarchive photos. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Didn't know that. Fiscal Ranger, Florida. Synology, yep, that's another really good one, and they were it was fine. Yeah, it was a good choice. All right, and Emil is very happy with his Synology network storage system. Steve, Gmail comes across alive with Active Inbox. Looking forward to you reviewing it. Yeah, Active Inbox I have used in the past. I've looked at it. They're a little. The issue that I have with a tool like Active Inbox is there's a little bit of all in. It's this. I don't think it's as bad as SaneBox. SaneBox is a tool that is a wonderful tool, but oh my gosh, once you're into it, you're kind of trapped in their ecosystem. But Active Inbox, I've had a subscription in the past. I've shown it in the past, and let's put it down as for me to have another look at. I love the suggestions for the video. Sunrise, Eddie, thank you so much. 2 thumbs up. Sunrise calendar. Sunrise, it was such a good calendar. Microsoft bought it, killed it, drove me into Google's arms. Yep. Fantastical is a good calendar app, but it wasn't the one that we were thinking of. Yep. Gail, you were right as well. Sunrise. All right. And we have Diana Clark. Hello from Kentucky. I am new to Evernote and new to DottoTech. Diane, have you taken our Evernote Quick Start Guide? If you visit the DottoTech page, we have a free Quick Start Guide. It's like an hour course that walks you through Evernote. It's a great way to start. Mr. X Stitch, longtime listener, first time caller. There's a radio reference. Do you have any thoughts about Notion? No, I haven't looked at Notion yet, but I've heard a lot of people talking about it. It seems to be one of the flavors of the month, and it's one that we are definitely going to be keeping our eye on. Do you have thoughts about it? Have you taken a look at it? Would love to hear if you have. Gail, still waiting for Microsoft to make their to-do app a non-zombie form of Wunderlist. Don't want Microsoft near Evernote. I think most of us would agree with you. And Fiscal Ranger Florida for doing NAS choices. Search on NAS reviews on YouTube. There's so many good ones. Oh, yeah. And expose a lot of bad ones. Indeed, they do. And look at that. We're 45 minutes in. I've reached the end of this string of questions, and I think we've had a good time. Did I cover all my topics? The only thing I didn't really dive into the pricing of YouTube of Evernote, but we certainly talked about it a little bit. That's good, and we had a great conversation about online pressures. That was good, and you folks have affirmed with me a little more that these Ask Me Anythings are worthwhile ventures. So we will continue again with one next week. Well, we'll continue for the foreseeable future. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up. Respect your time. Have a great weekend, everyone. June. It's time to start doing more stuff outside. I might take a day off this weekend. I think that's a great idea. Thank you all very much thanks for the Super Chat support. Thanks for your kind comments. Thank you for your suggestions. They are written down here. Till next time, I'm Steve Dotto. Have fun storming the castle.